Welcome back to the channel. This will be the predicted lineups for Game Week 10 in Fantasy Premier League. And before I delve into every single prediction that I've got, and you will see the scoreline predictions at the very end of this podcast, let me discuss some suspensions we should be looking out for. And for the first 19 game weeks of the season, if a player earns 5 bookings, they will be suspended for 1 match in the Premier League. And we have 4 players walking the tightrope. They are currently on 4 yellow cards: Nico Williams, Garner, Tyler Adams, and Lukic. And we've got many players on 3 yellow cards, and that includes Daniel Munoz, Calafiori, Senesi, Jadon Anthony, Igor Thiago, Grealish, Xhaka, Romero, Dan Burn. We've also got Paqueta in there as well, and there are even more where that came from, as you can see in the following list. So there is Collins, Kirkes, Dorgu, and also Somerville, Sharda, Brooks, Dunk, Bradley, Morato, Casemiro, Joao Gomez, Baliba, Vifa, Hughes, Siddiqui, Kadioglu, Irigbonum, Jimenez from Bournemouth, Kilman, and Doherty. But I also wanted to highlight the possibility of blank Game Week 17 after the Carabao Cup matches in midweek, and Crystal Palace in particular is the catalyst for a potential blank in Game Week 17. So All About FPL posted the following tweet several days ago. Crystal Palace versus Arsenal in the Carabao Cup quarter-final fixture could happen during Game Week 17, resulting in a blank game week. This is because the Carabao Cup quarter-finals happen during the midweek between Game Week 16 and 17, and Palace have the Europa Conference League game scheduled in that time frame. So the teams blanking in Game Week 17, if this were to be the case, it would be Crystal Palace, Arsenal, Leeds United, and Everton. And there's a chance that Arsenal and Everton double in Game Week 16. So Arsenal would face Wolves at home and Everton away, whilst the Toffees would face Chelsea away and Arsenal at home. However, Leeds and Crystal Palace are not expected to double in the first half of the season if they blank. But there was a tweet by a BBC journalist, and that has actually reduced the chances of this happening in the first place. So Dale Johnson from the BBC said the following: Crystal Palace are set to play 4 matches in 8 days because of a fixture pile-up caused by reaching the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup. And Ben Crellin did respond to this and provided his thoughts on what that would mean. And he said, well, he posted this following tweet a couple of days ago: I'm less sure that blank Game Week 17 will happen now. So Dale Johnson thinks the most likely outcome is that Arsenal versus Palace will take place on Tuesday, December the 16th, forcing Palace to play on the Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. This would mean no Premier League games would be rescheduled to make room for Arsenal versus Crystal Palace in the Carabao Cup. He also said in a follow-up tweet, it's hard to say how likely this fixture clash is to cause a blank game week. Last night, I thought blank Game Week 17 was around 75% likely. Today, I think blank Game Week 17 is around 50% likely. So it's a possibility, of course, but the chances have reduced, and the Premier League could just force Crystal Palace to play that game and have 4 matches in the span of 8 days. Let me know your thoughts down the comment section below. Drop a like on this video, subscribe to my channel, and also hit the notification bell so you're always up to date on my content. With FPL and UCL Fantasy, you'll get all the updates you need in terms of doubles and blanks, best wildcard, limitless squads in the case of UCL Fantasy, and much more. I post transfer tips every single week for Fantasy Premier League, and keep your eyes peeled for tomorrow's deadline stream where I'll be highlighting the clean sheet odds, top 10 captains, and much more. Follow me on X, Instagram, and Blue Sky, Dylan RCM, and check all the links in the description for my Patreon and the championships, for access to my videos, amongst many other perks. My Discord server, the FPL League, and Spotify can also be found in the description. But without further ado, let's jump straight into it. The first team covered in today's proceedings is Arsenal, and the numbers you see in the top right hand corner of your screen are my correct predictions. So out of a possible 99 so far this season, I've got a 91 correct for the Gunners. They face Burnley and Sunderland away next, so they're top of the FDR for the next 2 game weeks, but then it's 2 London derbies against Tottenham at home and Chelsea away after the international break. David Raya went up in price recently to 5.8 million. Durin Timber also a couple of days ago to 6.1. I think Mosquera will start alongside Gabriel because Saliba is still doubtful, which I'll talk about very soon. Calafiori will be the left back with Zubimendi, Eze, and Rice as the 3 midfielders, Saka and Trossard on the wings, and Victor Gyökeres up front. And Mikel Arteta provided plenty of updates during Friday's press conference, and he said, I think we still have the same ones. Gabriel Martinelli is still out. We don't know yet when he will return, but this game comes too early for him. William Saliba, we still have to wait and see. The rest are getting closer, but not ready yet. And he also spoke about long-term injuries. I would say weeks, and some of Martin Odegaard, Kai Havertz, Noni Madueke, and Gabriel Jesus pretty soon. hopefully, if they keep evolving the way they are doing. But it's too difficult to say a game because we have the international break, which is a 2-week break. After that, I think we'll have some back, maybe all of them, maybe some of them, but we'll be quite close by then. Let's now move on to the second team here in Aston Villa, who face Liverpool away next. And despite a loss in the Europa League against Go Ahead Eagles, Aston Villa have been very impressive in the Premier League, and they are one of the most informed teams in the competition. They beat Manchester City in Game Week 9, and the fixtures are quite mixed bag because it's Bournemouth home after that trip to Anfield this weekend. Then after the international break, it's Leeds away and Wolves at home. And Unai Emery provided updates over the last couple of weeks. So on October the 26th, he said on Emi Buendia, he's injured, I don't know how much, whilst Tielemans and Andres Garcia are ruled out, and Harvey Elliott is ineligible to play against his parent club. So Aston Villa will likely line up with Emi Martinez in goal, Cash, Konsa, Pau Torres and Luka Dean, with Kamara and Onana in the midfield, Guesson and McGinn as the wingers, and then Rodgers just behind Ollie Watkins. And so far this season, I've got an 84 correct out of 99 for the Villains. Now with Bournemouth, I've got an 87 correct, and there was one incorrect prediction last week, and that's because Diakite was dropped to the bench, and we could see this happen yet again against Man City away. Then it's Aston Villa, also away from home, and a promising fixture run starting from Game Week 12. So Petrovic will be in goal. I believe Jimenez will be the right back, and Senesi, as usual, will start in central defence. And I think Diakite could be benched once again, with Truffert on the left, Scott and Adams in the midfield, Tavernier and Semenyo on the wings, and Justin Kluivert just behind the informed Kripke Jr., who has 3 goals in the last 2 matches. Evanilson could return in Game Week 10, but I don't expect him to start anytime soon, and if anything, that could be the case after the international break, because Kripke Jr. is the informed player at Bournemouth right now, and there's no need to drop him whatsoever. Moving on to Brentford, they have found a winning formula with this 4-2-3-1 formation, and Yarmouk is doubtful. Their upcoming fixtures are more promising, facing Crystal Palace away, Newcastle at home, Brighton away, and Burnley at home. But ultimately with Brentford, it should be Keller in goal, Coyote and Ajer as the fullbacks, with Collins and Van den Berg in central defence, with Henderson partnering Yarmouk if he's fit enough to start, Dango Ouattara on the right, Sharda on the left, and Damsgaard just behind the informed Igor Thiago, who's only second in terms of FPL points scored amongst forwards, and Erling Haaland is clearly on his own level at number 1. He's got 40 more points than Igor Thiago, but then again, this guy only costs 6.2 million in FPL and he offers great value. Josh De Silva remains out, and Milambo will miss the season due to an ACL injury. And Keith Andrews said on Hickey on October the 24th, Aaron will be back in training in the next few days. And with Yarmouk, it looks to be a hip injury, nothing too serious. So even if he misses the Crystal Palace game or isn't able to start, I would expect him to be available before the international break facing Newcastle at home. But we're now on to Brighton, who lost against Arsenal in the Carabao Cup on Wednesday night. Verbruggen will be in goal, with Vifa, Van Heck, Dunk and Kadioglu in the defence, Baliba and Ayari in the midfield, and I think Minta and Gomez will be the wingers, provided that Mitoma isn't fit enough to start. Jorginho Rota just behind Danny Welbeck. It's Leeds at home in Game Week 10, followed by Crystal Palace away, Brentford at home, and Nottingham Forest away. 86 predictions correct out of 99, and Fabian Hurstler said these things before the Arsenal game on Wednesday. So on Mitoma, Gruder and Veltman, they are getting closer, but I don't think they have a chance to be in the squad tomorrow, which obviously was the case there at the Emirates. Milner is doubtful, while Hinshelwood, March and Webster are out. So with Brighton, a bit of mixed fortunes with the injuries. And with Burnley, they've had a very promising start to the season and a few decent results back to back. But it's now Arsenal at home, then West Ham away, Chelsea at home and Brentford away. A very mixed bag set of fixtures, but they would fancy their chances against the struggling West Ham side in Game Week 11. Dubravka should start in goal with Walker, Twansebi, Esteve and Hartman, Cullen and Florentino Luis in the midfield, Bryn Larson and Jadon Anthony on the wings, and Ugochukwu just behind Fleming, who scored a brace against Wolves, and the first goal was an incredible finish on the volley. Jordan Bayer, Connor Roberts and Zeki Amdouni are the long-term absentees, and apart from that, Scott Parker didn't really talk about the injuries too much in his Thursday press conference. With Chelsea, Enzo Maresca talked about a few things on Friday in another press conference, and he said that Joao Pedro, Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo are available for tomorrow, but they are being managed game by game. And he said the following in the press conference: "We cannot plan with them because of their problems, their situation, so it's game by game to see how many minutes we can use them." Liam Delap is suspended after his red card in the Carabao Cup. Palmer, Badiashile and Isugu will not feature, and Colwill will miss the majority of the season due to an ACL injury. So Robert Sanchez will be in goal with Gusto and Cucurella as the fullbacks, and Malagusto now returns from suspension. Achimpong and Chalobah in the defence is the most likely, with Reece James in the midfield partnering Caicedo, Neto and Garnacho on the wings, with Esteval being used as a super sub, and Enzo Fernandez just behind Joao Pedro, who went down in price to 7.4 million overnight. It's Tottenham away next, and Chelsea have had great fortunes against the Lily Whites, followed by Wolves at home, Burnley away, and then another London derby against Arsenal. But we're now on to Crystal Palace, and this is by far the most successful in terms of predictions, but also the easiest of teams with their fixed starting 11. The only concerns or doubts would be about Kamada versus Hughes, but Dean Henderson will be in goal, and Chris Richards is yellow flagged at the moment, but I believe he will start alongside Lacroix and Mark Gay, Munoz and Mitchell as the wing-backs, with Wharton and Kamada in central midfield. Ismail Assar scored a brace in that 3-0 win at Anfield during midweek. Yeremy Pino got a goal and played very well in that game, and Jean-Philippe Mateta will start up front, and Crystal Palace have a lot of injury updates as well. So Kafora, Doucouré and Chadi Riyad are out, and Oliver Glasner said this on October the 28th about Chris Richards. Chris has a little bit of an issue with his calf, so he won't make the trip to Liverpool tomorrow. I don't think he'll miss this weekend, but we don't take any risks because Chris didn't play in the Europa Conference League against Larnaca. Let's see. I can't tell you any more at the moment. And Eddie Nketiah sustained a hamstring injury in Crystal Palace's 3-0 win versus Liverpool, as confirmed by Oliver Glasner in his post-match interview. Now, Brentford at home is up next, followed by Brighton, another home fixture there at Selhurst Park. Then it's Wolves away and Man United at home. So Crystal Palace have a lot of games at Selhurst Park over the next 4 game weeks, and that's 97 correct predictions out of 99 so far this season. Now, with Everton, I've also had some decent successes with 93 correct predictions. Pickford in goal, O'Brien, Tarkowski, Keane and Mikolenko is quite settled until Branthwaite returns from injury. Idrissa Gana Gay and Garner in the midfield. Indai and Grealish as the wingers, and Dewsbury Hall just behind Beto. Both of them have decreased in price over the last couple of days. It's Sunderland away next, followed by Fulham at home, Man United away, and Newcastle at home. And David Moyes said the following on Branthwaite over a week ago. We had him back in training. We expected him to be very close for Man City, but it just didn't feel quite right. So he got it checked and got some work done on it. We wouldn't put a timescale on it. We'll give him a chance to heal and take his time. So as a consequence, both Branthwaite and Patterson are unavailable for the Toffees. Now, Fulham have a lot of injury problems, and 2 doubts are in my predicted starting 11 in Harry Wilson and Raul Jimenez, but there is the possibility that Adama Traore starts on the right-hand side, and we even saw him play up front to replace Jimenez during a game, and that was against Aston Villa, I believe, a couple of months ago. But it's Wolves at home next, Everton away, Sunderland at home, and Tottenham away, and Fulham are near the top of the FDR, the fixture difficulty rating for the next 5 game weeks. I've got 83 predictions correct for Fulham, with Leno in goal, Tete, Diop, Bassi and Sessegnon, Berg and Lukic in the midfield. I've gone for King as the attacking midfielder, Iwobi on the left, Wilson on the right, and Raul Jimenez up front. And Marco Silva said on the 23rd of October, talking about Joachim Andersen, as we expected, and as I mentioned after the match, he has a muscle injury. It's not so serious. He missed the Carabao Cup tie versus Wickham on Tuesday. And about Harry Wilson, he got a knock with the national team, a small issue. Yesterday, he was not in the condition. Today, he didn't train as well. Nothing really serious, but let's see how he reacts tomorrow. And after, I will take a decision. Raul Jimenez felt something on the side. That was the reason he came off at Villa in Game Week 6 and missed 2 to 3 games. Let's see in the next few days how he's going to be and if he's going to be ready for Saturday. Samuel Chukwueze is also doubtful, whilst Menis, Smith Rowe and Robinson will miss Game Week 10 according to the recent reports, and if anything changes, I'll let you know. With Leeds United, I've got 91 correct predictions, and there are a lot of changes in that 2-1 victory against West Ham last Friday, and Daniel Farke said, I have nothing to report, nothing to complain about, no illnesses, no injuries, so everyone in training, we have a proper group, everyone is available, proper competition. Nonto has trained for the first time, his first full training week. He's definitely, after being out so long, not a topic for the starting lineup. Definitely not, but he had the first full training week. We will see if we take Nonto already, perhaps even with us to the game. Loads of competition at the moment. No one is missing, so I like it. I believe Perry will start in goal, which I predicted as well last week, and that's when he got his first start in several months. Bogle, Rodon, Biol and Goodmanson as that defensive line, with Ampadu, Longstaff and Tanaka in central midfield, Aronson and Okafor on the wings, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin up front in an unchanged side compared to the one that beat West Ham 2-1 last week. It's Brighton and also Nottingham Forest away up next, then Aston Villa at home and Man City away for Leeds United. But let's now move on to the Premier League champions Liverpool, who have been really struggling recently with 6 losses out of the last 7 matches. In the Premier League alone, it's 4 consecutive losses, and up next is Aston Villa at home, who have been really in form in terms of the results in this competition, and Man City away, but there's a clear fixture swing from Game Week 12, where Liverpool face Nottingham Forest at home and West Ham away, and Arne Slot provided several updates in today's press conference. He said Ryan Gravenberch trained with us yesterday, the other 2, Alexander Isak and Curtis Jones, didn't yet. In the end phase of the injury, things can slow down a bit, or things can go faster, but Ryan trained with us yesterday, and he will train with us today, and then we will make the call whether he is able to start. The other 2 are 99.9% sure not in the squad on Saturday. Alisson and Frimpong are injured, and Giovanni Leone is out for the season with an ACL injury. So Mamardashvili will start in goal. I think Bradley and Robertson will be the fullbacks, with Konate and Van Dijk in central defence, Gravenberch and Szoboszlai in that midfield pivot, with Salah and Gakpo on the wings, and Florian Wirtz just behind Ekitike in that Liverpool starting 11. Let's now move on to Manchester City, who have been easier to predict this season at times, but Pep Guardiola can do a madness, as he did against Aston Villa, playing Reinders as the lone 6, but I believe Nico Gonzalez will play in that position, with Donnarumma in goal, Mateus Nunes, Ruben Dias, Gavardio and O'Reilly in that defensive line, also Bernardo Silva, Reinders, Foden and Doku, Erling Haaland up front, but there is a slight doubt in my mind about Savio starting on the right, and many Man City fans will tell you that Doku's been playing better on the right and Savio on the left, so let's see if Pep Guardiola actually implements this in the next couple of matches, which don't look particularly great for the citizens, against Bournemouth at home, Liverpool at home, Newcastle away, and Leeds at home. But at least 3 of those fixtures are at the Etihad, and Man City boasts one of the best home records over the last couple of years. Now, Pep Guardiola gave an update on Erling Haaland on the 28th of October. Erling, I didn't see him today, but it was a knock, and day by day he is better. But now we train this afternoon and we'll know more exactly how he feels. He's not yellow flagged at this moment in time. It's a possibility before the deadline, but I think Erling Haaland will play. He was always going to be rested against Swansea. Marmoush played up front to build up some match sharpness and fitness after his return from injury, and he scored. Cherki also got a late goal and played very well in that game. So with Man City, there's a few players to keep an eye on, but ultimately Erling Haaland is all you need in Fantasy Premier League. He also said, Pep Guardiola, on Rodri, he is still not ready, so he's getting better, training with us partially. But of course, after what happened 2 times with the muscular injuries, we are going to see how he is this week. Let's go to the other side of Manchester, in Man United, who are in great form with 3 consecutive victories, and the fixtures are quite promising, facing Nottingham Forest and Tottenham away, Everton at home, and Crystal Palace away. Lamins will be in goal, and I believe Yoro, De Ligt and Shaw will be that back 3 there for Ruben Amorim. Amad Diallo and Dallo on the wings, with Mbumo and Cunha just in front of Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes, and Benjamin Sesko up front. Ruben Amorim said this on Lisandro Martinez. He wants to go to this one. He is not going to go to this one. He is going to take time. He started training with us, but we had to change some things in the exercise for him. So slowly, he is going to get better. He is really good. He is really good. And he gives us that edge in every training session. That is also really good for us. The Argentine has been on the sidelines for the best part of 8 months and needs time to build his fitness. With Ruben Amorim as well, he said the rest of the guys, we have 1 more day of training. I don't know about Harry Maguire. I think the rest are fit. So good updates there for Manchester United, and I've gotten 84 correct predictions out of 99. And with Newcastle, very close to the 90 mark there, with the Toon Army, they got a 2-0 win against Tottenham Hotspur in the Carabao Cup, and Eddie Howe's record in that competition is spectacular. They do face a struggling West Ham side next at the London Stadium, followed by Brentford away, Man City at home, and Everton away. Nick Pope will be in goal, with Trippier and Byrne as the fullbacks, and Dan Burn could go up in price to 5.2 million fairly soon. I think Cher will partner Chow after Botman's head injury recently, but that isn't a guarantee. Fabian Cher did score in that victory against Tottenham. Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes and Joelinton in the midfield. I think Jacob Murphy will start in the Premier League, and Elanga will get the nod in the Champions League, and Anthony Gordon and Voltemada are fixed in the starting 11 at this moment in time. And Eddie Howe gave a lot of updates in Friday's press conference, and he said the following: he is very close. He hasn't trained with us yet, so hopefully he'll be training with us for the first time. We will see how he looks. I think he has worked really hard. He has looked after himself and looks in really good shape, but then we have to reintroduce him back into the squad at the right time. And this was in reference to Lewis Hall. On Visser's return, he said, definitely not West Ham. He is working very hard and is on the grass. He is not close to training with the group, not through injury, but through fitness. I'm not trying to be evasive, but I don't know when the moment will be when he's back with the squad. I don't think there's anything new. We are still managing Will Osula's ankle problem. We will see how he is today. But apart from that, I think we are as we were. And on Tino Livramento, the recent update was on Tuesday, and he said, Tino Livramento is still on track. We are looking at the Man City game for him when he can be available, and that would be in Game Week 12 after the international break. Let's now move on to Nottingham Forest with their new manager in Sean Dyche. And on Thursday, he said, Angus Gunn, who is not currently playing but obviously part of the squad, has opened up his knee ligaments. Chris Wood is going to be possible for the Leeds game. He won't make this one. We'll have to see how that goes. Ola Aina is making good progress. Sinchenko is a no at the moment, unfortunately, a bit longer than we thought. Bakwa is still a no, but making good progress. We're hoping no more occur, that's for sure. A few knocks, but nothing too serious at the moment. Nottingham Forest will host Man United in the early kickoff on Saturday, followed by Leeds at home, Liverpool away, and Brighton at home. It will be Sells in goal, with Savona and Williams as the fullbacks, Milenkovic and Murillo in central defence, Anderson and Douglas Luiz in the midfield, Ndoye and Hudson-Odoi on the wings, and Morgan Gibbs-White just behind Igor Jesus, who is poised to start up front. With Sunderland, they played a back five against Chelsea in a great victory for them. They are 4th in the Premier League table, and their fixtures aren't particularly great now, facing Everton at home, Arsenal at home, Fulham away, and Bournemouth at home, but 3 of the next 4 fixtures are at the Stadium of Light, where they have been very solid this season, with Roofs in goal, who went up in price the other day to 4.7 million, and a back 5 of Hume, Mukiele, Ballard, Gertruda, and Reynilo Mandava. But Alderete could be available, and if that's the case, we could see the Dutchman make way for the Paraguayan. I've got Traore and Lefay as the wingers, but Talbi has been very impressive off the bench in recent matches, and he could start on the right-hand side. Xhaka and Siddiqui are nailed in that central midfield, and Isidore up front, the same applies to him, but I wouldn't be buying him in Fantasy Premier League personally with those upcoming fixtures. And Lebris said on Alderete recently, he is under concussion protocols, he is having daily assessments, we are hoping to have him back for the Everton fixture, and he said this over a week ago. So that is the target for him to be available for Game Week 10, whilst Alessi, Churkin, Mondor, Hjeld and Diarra are out of contention for Game Week 10. So with Sunderland, not too many surprises. Tottenham Hotspur have a lot of injury problems and some very difficult fixtures, but they are 3rd in the Premier League table, and despite their exit of the Carabao Cup, they've got the best away record in the Premier League, and Thomas Frank has done a good job so far this season. I believe Vicario will be in goal, with Bodro and Spence as the fullbacks, Danso and Van der Ven in central defence until Romero is back from injury, Joao Paulinho and Bentancur in the midfield, and I believe Kudus and Odobert will be the wingers, and Xavi Simons just behind Colomwani, who should be the main striker for Tottenham Hotspur until Solanke is back from injury as well. It's Chelsea and Man United at home next, followed by Arsenal away, so Tottenham are bottom of the FDR for the next 3 fixtures alongside the likes of Manchester City. Fulham at home won't be easy either after the international break, and Thomas Frank said on Romero during his Monday press conference, Kuti is on the pitch, no time frame, but he's on the pitch, whilst Gray, Taki, Udogi, Basuma, Solanke, Kulusevski, Dragusin and Davis remain sidelined, and Maddison will miss the vast majority of the season with an ACL injury, so Spurs have a lot of problems at the moment. With West Ham, Oliver Scarles dislocated his shoulder in West Ham's 2-1 defeat at Leeds last Friday, and Nuno Espirito Santo said Mavropanos is injured, he came off, and he now has a scan to see the real injury that he has. I cannot answer exactly how long he's going to be out. For sure, this game is not an option for us, unfortunately, and he said that before the Leeds game. Nuno also provided an update on Fulkrug 2 weeks ago. He just made a scan, we are still waiting for the results, then we can say exactly what the time is going to be. No estimation at the moment. And with George Urphy, he will be out until after the international break. West Ham face Newcastle and Burnley at home, followed by Bournemouth away and Liverpool at home. Areola will start in goal, and despite playing a back three in recent matches, I think West Ham could revert to a 4-1-4-1 or a 4-2-3-1 as you see on screen. And if that's the case, Wan-Bissaka and Diouf should be the fullbacks, with Todibo and Kilman in central defence. Magassa, Fernandes and Paqueta would be the midfielders, Bowen and Somerville on the wings, and Callum Wilson up front, but he is not fit enough, it seems. Graham Potter and Nuno don't really trust him to start these games, and that's why sometimes we see Paqueta playing as the false nine, and West Ham do a few different things, but ultimately they need that pure striker to get some goals and stretch the opposition defences, and they really need some results ASAP. The last team covered is Wolves. I've gotten not great predictions with them, to be honest. It's by far the worst, with 77 correct. It's Fulham and Chelsea away next, followed by Crystal Palace at home and Aston Villa away. That is not going to be easy, that's for sure. And Wolves had a few injury problems during midweek in the Carabao Cup. I think it'll be Johnston in goal, Hoover, Santiago Bueno, Krejci and Hugo Bueno, with Andre, Joao Gomez, who was benched in the recent Premier League match, and Menezes in the midfield, Arias and Hwang Hee-chan on the wings, and Strand Larsen up front. So Doherty was subbed off in Wolves' 4-3 defeat against Chelsea in the Carabao Cup. His replacement, Rodrigo Gomez, was also subbed off due to injury. Jorgen Strand Larsen has been playing for an Achilles tendon issue, and Leon Chiwomi is still recovering from an ACL injury. Despite getting 2 assists, it's possible that Wolf is benched for Hugo Bueno again at left back, and ultimately with Wolves, they're bottom of the Premier League table. Things are looking dire at this moment in time, and despite a few improvements since they changed to this back four, it's still not quite good enough, and they're not getting the wins in the Premier League. After predicting all 20 Premier League lineups, it's time to show you my scoreline predictions for Game Week 10. I've gone for Brighton 1, Leeds 0, Burnley 0, Arsenal 2, Crystal Palace 2, Brentford 1, Fulham 2, Wolves 1, Nottingham Forest 0, Man United 1, Tottenham Hotspur 2, Chelsea 2, Liverpool 3, Aston Villa 2, West Ham 0, Newcastle 2, Manchester City 2, Bournemouth 1, and Sunderland 2, Everton 1. And a bit of a correction to something I said earlier, Man United Forest is not the early kickoff, but who actually cares, mate, unless you're a United or Forest fan. But those are my scoreline predictions. Over the last couple of weeks, I've gotten 2 to 3 correct in every single match day, so not too shabby. And let's see which ones I get correct, if any at all. What are your scoreline predictions? Who do you think is going to start? And which FPL assets are you most interested in for Game Week 10 and beyond? Be sure to drop a like on this video, subscribe to my channel, and also hit the notification bell so you're always up to date on my content, both FPL and UCL Fantasy. Keep your eyes peeled for the best limitless and wildcard teams for match day 4 and my team selection, which will be posted on Monday. And of course, next Tuesday, there's going to be a hectic deadline stream for match day 4. I've still got the limitless chip in the Champions League. And for Fantasy Premier League, there is a deadline stream tomorrow where I'll provide my final scoreline predictions, predicted lineups, team news, injury updates. I'll address all the Friday press conferences as well. And the same goes for update clean sheet odds, also my top 10 captains, and much more, whilst answering hundreds of your questions. Follow me on X, Instagram and Blue Sky, DylanRCM, and check all the links in the description for my Patreon and the championships, for access to my videos, prior to to comments, amongst many other perks. My Discord server, the FPL League and Spotify can also be found in the description. I'll see you tomorrow for the next FPL deadline stream, and the same could be said for reaction stream over the weekend.